So your Instagram hashtags just aren't working regardless of how hard you try or what groups you put together. They're just not working for you and you're not happy about it. We're not happy about it either, but luckily we are Instagram hashtag experts. So in this video, what we're gonna do for you is explain why your tags aren't working and then also help to fix that to get your tags working, getting your content in front of more people that can follow you, buy from you, and just help you get more from Instagram. So if that sounds good to you, this is the video for you. Let's do it. What's going on? It's Ben here from Flick, and today we are tackling why your hashtags aren't working. So let's answer the first obvious questions. Do hashtags really even work? First, let's clarify what working really means when it comes to hashtags. If you use the right tag, what that means is that you can rank on that hashtag, which means you show up in the top 9 when people search for it, or you can show up in the recent posts within that hashtag as well, again, when people search for it. And both of these are ways to get targeted exposure and new people seeing your content. So if your hashtags are working, that's exactly what they're doing. They're bringing new and targeted people to your content and to your page. And when used correctly, hashtags can also increase the likelihood that Instagram will start showing your content on the explore page. And this is exactly why relevancy is so important when it comes to hashtags. If the tags aren't describing what's in the content or the kind of person that would want that content, it's not going to give you the results that you want. We want hashtags to work their magic and get our content in front of new people, but we want the right people. So yes, hashtags absolutely do work when used correctly. So now let's get into the 6 likely reasons that your hashtags aren't currently working and how we can fix that. The first possible reason that your hashtags aren't working is that you're just using hashtags that are far too competitive. And this happens so often because the super competitive hashtags are usually the most obvious and the first ones that come to mind. So for the example of using something like hashtag love, even if it is related to the content, with so many millions of people using that so consistently, the likelihood of you ranking on it is almost 0. So that's just a wasted opportunity and one that you could have used a smaller or less competitive tag that is also relevant that could have given you more benefit than something that was just too competitive. And how Instagram decides what content ranks on hashtags is based on the level of engagement that post receives. So naturally, with these super competitive tags, the attention is going to go to far larger pages that are getting a ton of engagement. So what's the solution for this? Try to broaden out your hashtag selection process to include more tags that have less competition. And a great way to do this is just to get even more descriptive, starting with a more competitive tag and getting more specific to your unique piece of content. So for example, a yoga page may want to use hashtag yoga. And although it is related to the content, it's so competitive, they're not very likely to rank. Whereas if they went a little more specific with something like hashtag yoga for beginners, it is far less competitive and even more hyper focused. And by using these smaller and less competitive hashtags, you can help your content get more momentum, which can actually increase the likelihood that you can rank on more competitive hashtags. So when you're putting your groups together, it's a really great idea to cover all of your bases. So do a good mix of low, medium, and high competition tags to increase the likelihood that you can actually get the benefits from using all of them. So use a mix of broad and popular hashtags as well as niche specific ones. The second possible reason that your hashtags aren't working is that the hashtags you're using aren't related to the content that you're using them on. And this is another super common issue that people have on Instagram. They find a tag that they think is a great idea because it's trending, or maybe they just feel it's the right level of competition, but if it's not related to the content, it's not worth using. You're wasting your time and the opportunity here by using an unrelated tag. Because hypothetically, even if it were to rank, the people that would see it wouldn't interact with it well, and Instagram is able to track this, so you won't rank for very long, if at all. Whereas if you keep your tags highly relevant, anybody who's going to be exposed to this content will be highly interested in it and far more likely to engage, which is all positive in the eyes of Instagram, increasing the likelihood that it stays ranking and also gets on the explore page. So relevancy is so critical. Do not forget that and never sacrifice it. The third possible reason that your tags aren't working is that you're using hashtags that are banned or flagged. Instagram's pretty specific about their community guidelines, so any hashtags that sit outside of their guidelines will typically be banned or flagged by the platform. So what actually happens if you use a banned or flagged hashtag? Absolutely nothing good comes from it because you won't be discovered from that hashtag, and there's also a potential that you could get your account shadow banned for using banned or flagged hashtags. And what a shadow ban means is that your content is only being shown to people that are currently following you, which we obviously want to avoid because we want to get increased exposure and new people seeing our content. So we want to avoid a shadow ban at all costs. So how do you make sure that you're avoiding using banned or flagged hashtags on Instagram? Unfortunately, it's not too easy to do this research on your phone or within Instagram, but luckily Flick does have an integrated tool that will scan your hashtags to flag any banned or flagged hashtags that you might have selected to make sure that you don't use them. So if you want to give that tool a try, use the link in the description box of this video to sign up for a free 7-day trial of Flick so you can try it out for yourself. Reason number 4 is that you're not varying the hashtags that you're using. And I know that creating a list of hashtags and then copying it and pasting it to use it every single time is far more time efficient, but you won't get the results that you want doing that. And this happens for a bunch of reasons. The first is that Instagram can potentially view this behavior as spammy, which you definitely don't want. You're also not not casting your net wide enough. By using the same hashtags every single time, you're really only exposing yourself to the same potential audience every single time. You're far better off diversifying your tags to reach more like-minded people that may only be exposed to your content because of a different tag that you used on that unique post. On top of that, users who see your content repeatedly within a hashtag have the option to actually completely turn off seeing your content within that tag. They do this by selecting don't show for this hashtag on your content, and then for the future, you will not show up for that person in that hashtag anyway. Even more reason to not put all of your eggs in one basket. Plus, the final reason why you want to diversify your tags is because they are dynamic, like anything on Instagram. Interest levels change, trends change all the time. So if you're using one group that maybe you had success with once and you wonder why it's not working, it could do with relevancy. It could also just do with changing in interests and trends on the platform. So you always want to be changing up your groups of tags to make them highly relevant and to give yourself the best opportunity to reach the most amount of targeted people possible. Tip number 5 is that you're not considering contextual relevance. And although that sounds extremely fancy, let me simplify it for you. So everything that you post onto Instagram, they have AI technology scanning the image to try to figure out what that image actually is, to give themselves the best idea as to who to show that content to, because they know that these users are interested in this kind of content. And the level of accuracy with this is consistently evolving over time. But remember, Facebook owns Instagram and they've been using AI technology for a very long time. So it is getting more and more advanced over time. And it has evolved to the point of being able to recognize objects, branding elements, as well as faces. So they have a very strong idea as to what is actually in the photo. So if your hashtags that you use don't line up with that, you could be penalized. So let me give you an example of this. Let's say you went out for lunch with a friend and you snapped a quick pic of your burrito on your plate at lunch and you posted it out to Instagram. A hashtag without contextual relevance would be something like hashtag lunch date, while contextually relevant tags would describe what's actually in the photo, and in this case, on your plate. Some examples may include vegan burrito, beans and rice, you get my point. And Instagram is doing this on literally every piece of content, so keep in mind contextually relevant tags and be sure to use some. 6th possible reason that your Instagram hashtags aren't working is because you are simply rushing the process. And we get it. Instagram hashtag research can be a pain in the butt and can take up a ton of time, and especially when you're not getting the results that you want to give up completely, but trust me, you get back what you put in. So you definitely want to put in the time and effort and strategy into putting the right groups together to get the most out of hashtags. And luckily for you, that's exactly what Flick was created to do. So we have the most comprehensive tool to help you do all of these things in far less time and always put a great group of tags together for every piece of content. And the best way to do this consistently is to have a strategy put in place. And we also have some resources to help you with that as well. On this YouTube channel, we recently posted our latest hashtag guide to help you walk through everything that you need to know to put a custom hashtag strategy together. So that is linked in the card above. Go ahead and watch that after this video. You'll be happy that you did it, and your hashtags and your Instagram will also be happy. And once you've watched that video and put your strategy together and then put it to use, Flick's built-in analytics suite can actually track your performance of your hashtags and your account in general. So you actually get a good idea as to what's working versus what isn't, so you can constantly modify and improve your strategy over time. And Flick will even tell you exactly which hashtags you ranked on, which position you ranked in, and whether or not they are low, medium, or high competition tags relative to your specific account, which makes it really easy to keep hashtags that are working and get rid of the ones that aren't, which helps to save you a ton of time through the research process and also gives you quantifiable numbers to see how things are going. So like I mentioned previously in this video, there is a link to a free trial of all of Flick's services in the description box of this video. So go ahead and use that link and you can sign up and connect your Instagram account to use all of the tools completely for free for 7 days. If you're struggling with research or your tags just aren't working, the tools will help a lot. So I know it is incredibly frustrating when your Instagram hashtags aren't working for you, but these are the 6 likely reasons as to why that is currently happening and how you can actually switch up your strategy to get way more from hashtags. Although finding the right Instagram hashtags may seem like witchcraft, it really comes down to gaining an understanding of how they work, as well as putting together a consistent strategy that you can grow and change over time to have continued and sustainable success. And if you're looking to grow on Instagram and you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Flick's YouTube channel, where we post weekly Instagram specific content to help you grow and get more from Instagram. I will see you next week. Keep crushing it. Go find the right hashtags for you and go crush it on Instagram. Peace.